गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है, मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है। बस एक यही मेरा बल है, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा। अज्ञान भरे संशय से भरे, अज्ञान भरे संशय से भरे, विपरीत विचारों से भी भरे, विपरीत विचारों से भी भरे, मन के अंधकार को दूर करे, मन के अंधकार को दूर करे, वचनामृत से तव बोध कृपा, वचनामृत से तव बोध कृपा, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा। पल पल पग पग जीवन पथ पर, पल पग 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 जीवन पथ पर, गुरु साथ मेरे रक्षक बन कर, गुरु साथ मेरे रक्षक बन कर, बिसरू न कभी यह प्रेममयी, बिसरू न कही यह प्रेममयी, आनंदमयी भवदीय कृपा, आनंदमयी भवदीय कृपा, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है, मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है। बस एक यही मेरा बल है, बस एक यही मेरा बल है, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा, गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा। ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानान्तर्गहनपतितान् आत्मविद्योपदेशैः त्रातुं लोकान् भवदवशिखा तापपापच्यमानान् मुक्त्वा मौनं वटविटपिनो मूलतो निःसरन्ति शम्भोर्मूर्तिश्चरति भुवने शङ्कराचार्यरूपा। मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्ठान्तेव सदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपम् स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धाः शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्नसंशयाः निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्ताय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतम् पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्बोधभूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महा योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्री Dakshinamurti. Hari Om friends, welcome to Vichara Sadhana. Now with Acharya in his Dakshinamurty Stotram with our Gauda's commentary on that. We are discussing based on some Swamiji's commentary, and now the creation, the most vital topic, started in second verse. We have covered some 6 paras. Sorry, 16 paras. So the 16th one is a short one, but it appeared in the beginning it's a confusing one regarding cause and effect. Here it is said that all thinkers admit that the effect is inherent in and concurrent with the cause, and this is acceptable to all schools of philosophy. We thought that so far we have whatever we have discussed based on Swamiji's commentary earlier elsewhere, we saw four rules of cause and effect, causation and anti. In that four rules, the last rule was, therefore, the cause is concurrent and inherent in the effect. Concurrent means goes along with the effect. Inherent means it inherits from the cause. The effect is effect inherits from the cause. So these two aspects are related to the cause, which is concurrent and inherent in the effect. But here it seems it is different, but somehow later in 17th para concluding part, Swamiji has indicated, and therefore we are justified, but we will see that now as we proceed. Now, in this 16th para, another point suggested is, naturally, therefore, the Supreme, which is pure existence, alone can be the cause for the entire manifested world. Now, the world is taken as effect, ultimate effect is the world, and if the cause is considered as pure existence, satta, then how effect can be concurrent and inherent is not clear. Alternatively, we can say that there is a possibility of effect. When we are saying that there is a mud, when there is a mud, is the pot present there in the mud? Was the pot present in the mud? No. Only the possibility of the creation of pot is provided. So this does not mean that it is concurrent and inherent. But this point we may not conclude immediately. We leave it to for further reflection. But here the possibility point we can take it. There is a possibility of the creation of pot from the mud, and that will depend upon the pure consciousness, which is considered as efficient cause. The Sat is so as such, the causation part of it we are not discussing. We are not discussed so far. We have never said here in this commentary that Brahman is the material cause of the world, which is generally said. It is still to be declared here in the commentary. We'll come across. It is Maya which is the cause, both material as well as the efficient cause, and not the Brahman. Brahman remains untouched and intact because it is one without a second. At the level of Brahman, there is no second. But the possibilities from relative or from pure existence. Now there is a difference between absolute existence and pure existence. And that is the difference between Brahman and Paramatma. The Paramatma being the reflection of Brahman in Maya. And it is this pure existence, Paramatma, which is the source of the entire further creation, various levels. Now this being the reflection, therefore it goes into the group of Maya. Maya having different levels of manifestation, and it keeps on changing. Therefore, the start of that is from pure existence, called as Satta or Sattva. Sattva is not Sattva Guna, but Sattva is pure existence. It's an abstract noun of Sat, existence. So I am and I know that I am. So I am indicates the pure existence, and I know that I am indicates pure consciousness or Puranam. Satta and Puranam are basically responsible for the whole further creation. So among them, the starting point is Satta, the pure existence. That is indicated here in this paragraph, in the concluding part of this 16. Therefore, the Supreme is the pure existence, alone can be the cause for the entire manifested world. This is the statement we discussed just now. So pure existence and pure consciousness are technically called as Satta and Puranam. They are the starting point for the creation. And among them, the consciousness being inherent power of Paramatma. Therefore, the consciousness is not given immediate credit. It is Paramatma which is given a credit, the pure existence. In the pure existence, there emerges a power which earlier was not. So the possibility of the emergence of the power of Maya in Paramatman, the pure existence, may be there, but the credit of cause cannot be attributed to the pure consciousness. Pure consciousness supports, while Paramatman is the very material cause which goes along with the effect, and it continues to be with the effect. So mud being the material cause, so the material cause goes wherever the pot goes, the material mud goes. Even if the pot is broken, the material, the mud is not destroyed. It only changes its different levels of existence. So earlier, before pot, it was only a ball of mud. Before that, it was mud without earth. So these are all different changes, and it is indicative that Maya keeps on changing, and also its various levels during the process of creation. Brahman, which remains intact, like, and the relationship with Brahman and Maya is that of complete relationship of Brahman with Maya is relationship of Paramatman with pure consciousness is. What are these two different relationships? These are basics, we must know this. Rule number 1. Paramatman is reflection of Brahman in Maya. This decides relationship. Come on.
Avyakruta Brahma and Shabala Brahma.
Reflection and reflected.
So reflection and reflected is a relationship, technically called as, in grammar, clue number 3.
Pratibimba.
No, grammar, when I say. It is Visheshana, Vishesha Bhava.
Yes.
One is adjective. So therefore the Paramatman and Maya, being a reflection in the reflecting medium, it cannot be distinct from the medium. The medium, condition of the medium will affect the reflection. If the reflecting medium is dirty, muddy, the reflection will be dim. If the reflecting medium is turbulent, then the reflection will be dancing, or sometimes it may disappear also. So they are conditioned. So the Visheshan will go according to Visheshya. This is the rule in grammar. Visheshana Visheshya Bhava is the relationship between Paramatman and the pure consciousness. Now my question was the relationship between Brahman and Maya, or pure knowledge. Now you must know. Since you have labeled as Visheshana Visheshya, the relationship. The first one, Brahman and Maya, has the relationship of
Satta.
Yes. No, Satta goes to Paramatma. Satta goes to Paramatman. We are talking about Brahman and Maya. The topmost level. The next level is Paramatman
Shaktiman and Shakti.
No. Shakti cannot be separated from Shaktiman. It's a question of manifestation of Shakti or unmanifested. And we have taken the example of a wrestler. When alone he is with himself, and the Shakti of wrestling remains in potential, unmanifest. But when he sees his counterpart, another opponent, then that Shakti immediately comes out. It requires some purpose for the manifestation. So here it is not so. Brahman alone was termed as Parabrahman because it was absolute existence. Then Acharya, in order to assert his Advaita monism, he has given the adjective to Brahman as Chetana Brahma. So even without Maya being manifest, Brahman itself is also knows. In Mundaka Upanishad, the two terms are used in this context. Yes, Sarvajna, Sarvavit. The Sarvajna goes to that Brahman, which is called as Chetana Brahma. Sarvavit goes to the other aspect of Brahman, that is Maya aspect. Now, with all these references, don't forget my question. As against Visheshana and Visheshya, what is the other relationship? Rule number 4. Neelavasrena sphatiko yatha. Atmabodh.
Upadhi and Upahita.
Correct. 4 clues I had to give for that. The reflection is conditioned by reflecting medium. Whereas, if that Patikam, that is the, what do you call? The crystal. Then when the crystal is placed on the yellow cloth, it looks yellow. But the fact is that yellow has not even entered the crystal. There is no question of crystal being yellow. It's only an appearance. We are looking through crystal to the yellow cloth, so the crystal looks yellow. But the fact is that this yellow color cannot enter the crystal. It does not enter the crystal. So it is called upadhi. In a close approximation, the conditionings are close surrounding the crystal, but they cannot enter the crystal. If it is a blue cloth, it is blue. If it is a red, it looks like red, but as such, they do not enter the crystal. Because when you are placing the crystal on the yellow cloth, it looks yellow. Now, if the yellow color has entered the crystal, it should remain with the crystal. You take away the crystal from the yellow cloth and the yellow color disappears. So it means that it was only apparent, not really entered. That is upadhi, upahita. Upahita is the crystal, upadhi is yellow cloth. And they are never connected. They appear to be together, but they are never together. Whereas the reflection and reflected, definitely they are conditioned. Reflection and reflecting medium, reflection and reflecting medium are conditioned, and the reflection is affected by the conditions of the reflecting medium. Is it all right?
Guruji, this creates one question. So we know that you just mentioned that the moment the upadhi is gone, the upahita, the yellowness completely vanishes. So when in our pursuit, when Maya vanishes, when Maya.
You started on the wrong footing. It is not the upadhi that is gone. Upahita is taken away.
When
upahita
the
is more important.
when
right?
the upahita is taken away.
So,
yes.
Crystal is taken away. In case the yellow has entered the crystal should continue to see as yellow.
Yeah.
But that is not the case.
So in our case, when Maya goes away, what goes away? Does only the duality go away, or does the subject also go away?
Where the question of Maya going away? Where
Because
it is
that is the upadhi. Yes, in this example, Maya is the upadhi. So now,
yes.
So now if the upahita goes away, for us, what goes away? Does the duality go away, or does the?
It doesn't go away. There are only two levels. One is manifest and another is unmanifest. So Maya can go back to unmanifest condition, or it can come back as manifest. These are the two levels of Maya. It does not affect Brahman. When Maya is manifest, it is not independent of Brahman. It is one with Brahman. It cannot be separated from Brahman as well, being the inherent power. But we are using the word unmanifest and manifest instead of cause and effect. So this is a bit a very subtler level of thinking. So I just touched it with reference to the concluding sentence of the 16th para, which says that naturally therefore is his conclusion based on the first statement, that all thinkers admit that the effect is inherent in the cause. Effect is concurrent with the cause. This is the statement. Based on this statement, Swamiji says that, and this is acceptable to all schools of philosophy, agreed. Naturally, therefore, the supreme, which is the pure existence alone, can be the cause for the entire manifested world. And the supreme being of the nature of reflection, it is called Maya. Again, earlier Brahman and Maya were same. Same in a sense, fire and heat. Heat is fire, fire is heat. Okay, first level. But Maya continues to persist, being with the Brahman. So a moment when the Brahman becomes conscious of his inherent power, then Maya becomes the object of its consciousness. That is the point of division. where the Maya is trying to draw the attention, where the Brahman becomes conscious of Maya. When you say conscious of Maya, the Maya becomes the object of consciousness of Brahman.
Guruji, but this is exactly where I'm unable
This
to
is a
understand.
delicate point. This is a delicate point, and Jiva will never understand this. You and I will never understand this. We are trying to understand what scriptural statements are saying or what Swamiji is trying to say. This does not mean that we have understood it, but we have at least learned from Swamiji's text what he is trying to tell us. We are analyzing in our discussion. This is because we are the end result. Jiva is the end result, the creature. See, the creating faculty, creator, creation, creature. Among the creature is man. And because he has got the intellect, he has become self-conscious. Nobody else is self-conscious. Others do not have the clear idea about the world also. They just interact with whatever stimuli they that reach. So here we are creatures. It is difficult to know the creator himself, much less Brahman and Maya. But with the help of scriptural statement, with the help of elucidation by the teacher, with the help of our past merits of our past lives, and with the help of independent thinking on the part of seeker, it is possible to know and realize. Understand these four important factors. By the study of the scripture, by the elucidation from the teacher, then our punya karma, our merits in the past that we have gathered, to that extent our inner equipment is pure. And lastly, our independent thinking on this. These four together should result in the realization of our true nature. So said Swami Tapod Maharaj in his Ganga Stotram. He says it is the knowledge itself does not have Brahman as its object. Knowledge pure cannot objectify Brahman. Therefore, there is no scope. So the Jiva's ultimate level of reaching the sense of realization is to become pure knowledge and wait there. Till Brahman reveals to that. For that aspect, Brahman aspect, etc., we are at this moment keeping aside. The main theme of this verse is the creation. And because there are references of seed and tree on one side, and a juggler and a yogi on other side, of which it is confusing as regards the cause of creation. What is the cause of creation? We are discussing on that point, and here we are on the 16th para. So only the second part of the statement, naturally, therefore, the existence, satta or sattva, is the cause. At the Brahman level, there is no possibility of the world because it is one without a second. Whereas Paramatma is the one, not without a second. Therefore, the possibility of the second is always there, dormant. So, mud is the material in which we cannot say there is a pot in the mud, but there is a possibility of a pot from the mud. This possibility is provided by the mud. And provided means provided there is another efficient cause who intelligently can plan for it, design for it, decide the form of the pot, decide the purpose or function of the pot, then it is possible from the mud. But the mud by itself cannot raise to the pot. Nor the wheel by itself rotate and make the lump of mud to a pot. A conscious being is required. That conscious being is the efficient cause. Nimitta karanam. This nimitta karanam, contents of the nimitta karanam is consciousness, pure consciousness. And the substratum for the mud, wheel, etc. is pure existence. So we are trying to here compare with the illustration to our point. Now, with your permission only, we will proceed.
We will proceed, Guruji, but I will have to come
Of
back
course.
on this.
When we are stuck up with certain point, don't sit right there. Note down that point aside and proceed further. As we proceed, you will wonder that all our earlier points noted, you will be ticking off as clear. Don't bother about it. But at least some kind of understanding we must carry with it when we are proceeding further on the present status. Right? So, shall we proceed to the 17th? The stanza opens with an example of embryo in the seed that reinforces it with the example of the juggler and the yogi. This is a deliberate act to avoid misunderstanding. In the case of the seed, when the tree emerges, the seed is destroyed. A student might understand that the supreme existence has exhausted itself now because it has now become the world of plurality. To remove this idea of modification or parinamavad of Sankhya, the example of the magician and the illustration of the yogi's creation are suggested in the same stanza, along with the example of the tree remaining unmanifest in the seed. Here the point of unmanifest has come, and this should clear our earlier sense that the effect is concurrent, inherent, etc. So the effect is unmanifest. The possibility of the effect is unmanifest in the cause. It's provided. But we cannot say the effect is concurrent and inherent. So far I have not understood. If you have understood, you can always clarify. But 4 laws of cause and effect are important, which we must remember. First, there cannot be an effect without a cause. First. Next, who will say now?
The cause itself in another form is the effect.
Effect is nothing but the cause itself in another form. So mud became the mud ball became the pot, etc. So likewise, this is one law. Now, third law. Okay, 2 laws are covered. There is no effect without a cause. Karana shivay karya ghadat nahi. There is no effect without a cause. Second one is, as you said, repeat.
The effect itself is nothing else but the cause with another form.
In modification, as modified. So cause itself modifies into an effect. It is the cause itself. So effect is nothing but the cause itself in different form. This is the second law.
Yeah.
This is the law of karma, a law of cause and effect, etc. Now the third law.
Effect is removed.
Wait,
the effect-
don't hurry up. Don't hurry up. Go slow. Effect is not removed.
Sorry, the cause
From
is
the
removed,
effect-
nothing of the effect removed.
From the effect,
Yes.
if the cause is removed, nothing of the effect remains. From the effect, if the cause is removed, nothing of the effect remains. And therefore, last one, therefore, the cause is concurrent and inherent in the effect. These four rules we must repeatedly think over. They are very accessible to our reason, not that they are very too difficult. Now, with that keeping in mind, we cannot say effect is concurrent and inherent in the cause. But we can say here, as it is mentioned in the 17th para, that with the example of the tree remaining unmanifest in the seed. So in the seed, the tree is unmanifest and the seed becomes the tree. In the bargain, the seed is lost. Now, which aspect of this is to be applied to creation is what is important. Intelligently, we cannot say that the world was already there in Brahman or in Paramatman, but the world possibility was there. Therefore, we can say at the most that it was unmanifest condition, then it became manifest. So we cannot say unmanifest condition is the cause and manifest condition is the effect. So cause-effect relationship we are not applying. Earlier we have said elsewhere that childhood is not the cause for the youth. Youth is not the cause for the old age. But they are all changes, modifications of the same given stuff. That which was earlier a newly born child grows to become a boy, grows further to become a young man, grows further to become a middle-aged man, goes further to become the old man, and further dies. Now these are all modifications, and earlier when in the seed or in the embryo, it was an unmanifest condition. We're not very clear about it, but the embryo, existence of the embryo. Then it grows, then it is born, then it grows, then it goes to mature growth, then it decays, then it diseases, then it dies. So the stages are only modifications of the same stuff. Earlier it was unmanifest, later it became manifest, and again gone back to unmanifest when it dies, when the person dies, right? Can you immediately refer the Gita words in this regard? What so far just now I was describing. Manifest, unmanifest. The form is unmanifest in the seed. It later on becomes manifest, grows, and again goes back to become the unmanifest. Perishes. Fast. We are doing so many congregational chanting and all that. Now it should come to your mind. Avyaktadini bhutani. Vyakta madhyani bharata. Avyakta nidhananyeva. Tatra ka paridevana. Where is the point to grieve? In the beginning, the beings were in unmanifest condition. In the middle of it, they became manifest. And at their death, they went back to become unmanifest. So it's only a change, modification. Where is the question to grieve? One of the arguments in the Gita. Avyaktadini bhutani. Adini bhutani. Avyaktani. Vyakta madhyani bharata. Avyakta nidhananyeva. Tatra ka paridevana. So from unmanifest to manifest, manifest to unmanifest. We have referred also some poem of a foreigner who got confused about this. He says, life is an arrow's flight from the darkness into the light and from the light into the darkness again, perhaps to pleasure, perhaps to pain. This is a vague philosophy. It has no meaning. But what he has experienced, he has mentioned. And this can be compared with this Avyaktadini Bhutani. But when they are unmanifest, what is the basis of their sustenance? How could they exist as unmanifest? So there must be some independent another cause for them to sustain as unmanifest, then manifest, then back to unmanifest, and it can be repeating anytime, any number of times. Now we are going to that point. That you cannot say it is a cause. Unmanifest is not the cause for the manifest. It is only unmanifest and manifest. These are the two states of being. Either you are unmanifest or manifest. But cause is something different. And we are now going towards that point now. Because we want the cause for the creation. Who has created the creation? The creator, whether creator is the cause, whether material cause, instrumental cause, efficient cause, so many causes, this is too much. For the creation, we may consider it for a local purpose, topical use, but not as a rule. So here we are now proceeding towards the main cause, to determine the main cause. Now, one example of seed and tree is taken for one purpose, to explain the creation. One aspect of creation is that like a seed, creation was unmanifest in avyakrita form. Moini has referred this. Avyakrita is not immediately subject to any modification. Before modification, Vyakrita, Vikara, modification, change. Avyakrita, that was the state of Prakriti before it became manifest or started changing or modifying. So Avyakrita. So this is exactly the original point. This is unmanifest. So the seed and tree example can be taken with Avyakrita and Vyakrita. Unmanifest, manifest. Unmodified, modified. So subject to modification later. But not as a cause and effect. Seed, if we take this creation like a seed and a tree, now the creation is a full-fledged creation with all names and forms, all possibilities are there now at present we have seen. Therefore, this is not the effect and the seed as the cause. Because in the actual example, we find that the seed is lost in the bargain. When the seed becomes tree, the seed lost itself. It loses itself. But if that is the case, Vedanta also holds one theory that God created this creation. In that sense, if we accept it like a seed and tree, then we will find that in the finite arrangements of things and beings of the creation, the God is lost, disappeared, destroyed. But God is infinite and the creation is finite. It has a beginning and an end. Therefore, To avoid this misunderstanding, as it is said in this 17th para, another two examples are given of yogi and the juggler. There, yogi remains as yogi, but he effects certain things without even the use of any material. He makes you feel or experience something which is not there. Makes you feel. Or yogi, by his own sankalpa, by his own free will, he creates another. As Vishwamitra has created another creation when Trishanku was refused his entry in the heaven. So Vishwamitra said, never mind, I'll create a heaven for you. So he created heaven, from there he was thrown back. So he was hanging, he could neither could come to the earth nor could go to the heaven. Something like this, where no material is involved, merely a will, a free will of the yogi has created another creation. Similarly, juggler also will close your eyes, take a chappal close to your nose and ask you whether you are feeling the smell of jalebi, and you will nod your head, yes, I am feeling. This is how he has not done anything, but he has created a world of jalebi in your mind and you have experienced it. So this kind of jugglery where material is not much used and you feel that there is something newly created. So this is to balance and avoid the misunderstanding. From one standpoint, the creation was like a seed, a Vyakrita, then it becomes Vyakruta. Modified and changed, it has come down. That Maya has come down to various levels and various changes. It has been changing so far. At present, it is subject to change. In future also it will change. So these changes does not mean cause and effect. So this modification of cause itself into effect, that is not to be taken from seed and tree example. To balance that, so that you are taking seed and tree only as unmanifest and manifest. And you are taking the juggler and his jugglery game play, or the yogi and his creation as cause and effect. One is unmanifest and manifest, seed and tree. Another is cause and effect. These two are different aspects and both are involved in this creation. You cannot say immediately that it is like a seed and tree. In that case, seed gets destroyed. Here the creator being the God doesn't get destroyed, he is infinite. Paramatman is infinite. And the infinite is not subject to any finitude. Whereas the world is all subject to change, various changes, and ultimately perishing. So these differences are to be appreciated. Here point is not covered completely, it is just initiated. We will see further also elucidation in the next paragraph. So now in this 17th para, if you have anything, the first sentence is most important. The stanza opens with an example of the embryo in the seed and reinforces it with the example of the juggler and the yogi. This is the fifth and content of this paragraph. And Swamiji only elucidates on this point. He is only comparing two types of illustrations. One is seed and tree, another is juggler and his jugglery, or the yogi and his creation. See, for everything he uses separate words. He says the example of magician and the illustration of yogi. Illustration of yogi. In magic, jugglery is overnight, outrightly cheating you and making you feel something. Whereas in yogi, there is a systematic power of will with the yogi, which is capable of creating the substantial creation. So there is a even difference, small difference between a juggler and a yogi. Yogi has no jugglery; it goes by rules and laws. And the seed and the tree. So these on one side the two examples, on another side seed and tree example, they should balance and avoid misunderstanding in the student. The point is that the intelligent student needs the explanation of why and wherefore of the creation. This is the point. We are discussing in unfoldment, and we are discussing it in, we will be discussing in the Saddarshan also, and here also. So, with this, the 17th para is over. We have only discussed 3 illustrations and said all the 3 are applicable, but only aspects, some aspects. So, in the case of seed and tree, it's unmanifest and manifest aspect. The creation in the beginning was in the unmanifest form. Later on, it became manifest. A time will come when it will go back to become unmanifest. Pralaya, dissolution of the creation. That was the concern of the 17th para. Is there anything further to be discussed?
Guruji, if I try to connect these two examples, on the Bijasyantari Vankuro Jagadidam, the next word is Prang Nirvikalpam Punaha. And in the Maya Viva Vijrumbayatyapi Maha Yogi Vayaha Swechaya. So how to connect Prang Nirvikalpam Punaha and Swechaya? Is there a way to connect, or they have to be just associated?
No connection.
Okay.
No connection. Nirvikalpam, kalpa, kalpana, thought. Earlier it was without thought. Then first thought emerged. This is the process, one process. And here it is a willpower. His own will itself is capable of creating. He remains untouched, intact. So when creation is there, it is not Brahman or Paramatma that is lost in the creation like a seed, but he, because of his own will, Ekoham Bhavusyam Prajayeya iti, I'll become many, I'll reproduce many. So this idea is there in the Sankalpa. So Kalpa, Sankalpa, Vikalpa, Prang Nirvikalpa. In the beginning, before it started, it was only Nirvikalpa. Vikalpa is thought. Kalpa, Vikalpa, Sankalpa, etc. They are all only with prefix only. Slightly there is a change in the shade of meaning. But otherwise, Kalpa, Kalpana, it all means one thought. Now, Prang Nirvikalpam. Before creation, it was Nirvikalpa. Then first Vikalpa. Then second Vikalpa. Then time space is created. And thereafterward, the plurality in the process continued. That was Bija Sankura. And when you say yogi, etc., Swechaya is the term most important, by their own will. In the juggler's case, he overpowers your weak mind and makes you experience that what he is saying. You feel that yes, it is true. That's why his eyes are closed. He will see something and he will feel something else. So not to confuse him, therefore he closes his eyes. But in case of yogi, it is his sankalpa. The strength of his sankalpa is capable of appearing, the appearance of the creation. After all, creation is not real, apparent. We have seen that also earlier. But at this moment, this 17th para is only talking about 3 illustrations, one on one side and 2 on other side. One on one side shows from unmanifest to manifest possibility, and the other 2 indicates that there is a cause, and that cause is sankalpa. Swechaya, one's own free will. He decided, will. Now we need to know what is this free will and exactly Swechaya means what. We need to know that, and it's very step by step building of thought, developing the thought by Swamiji is going on. Therefore, unless there is something else with reference to these 2, we can proceed further, right? So here is the para 18. Applying the main ideas of this stanza to the general confusions created by the various schools of philosophy at the time of Shankara, we can detect a new import in the opening 2 lines. The materialist schools of philosophy, Charvakas, recognizes only one source of knowledge, and that is direct perception, pratyaksha. The Kannada and the Buddhist Kshanika Vijnanavadins, over and above direct perception, accept inference also as a source of knowledge. Then Sankhyains accept more than direct perception and inference, testimony of the wise, Aptavakya is the next. There are 6 pramanas like this. So here pramana is pratyaksha, anumana, then upamana, then shabda, then arthapatti, and lastly anupalabdhi. These are the 6 pramanas. In Tarka Shastra, this is the concern. And pramana, when we say, we have got 4 words related, we must know. Pramata, the knower. Prama, the knowledge. Pramanam, the means of knowledge. Prameyam, something to be known. These 4 things we must remember. So that when you are saying pramanam, pramanam means other 3 you must know. Pramanam, to know the prameyam by the pramata, and finally gain the prama, the knowledge. Got it? So this is, there are 6 pramanams available. All the 6 Vedanta uses. It has no such reservation. But starting from Charvak onwards, one pramana is added. They feel the necessity of another pramana also. Just for example, Arthapatti. So, Pino Devadattaha Divana Bhumte. Pino Pushta. Pushtaha Devadattaha. The FT guy, Devadatta, he doesn't eat during the day. And still he has become so healthy, bulgy. What is the matter? Arthapatti tells you, it is clear that he must be eating in the night. You are making a part statement, he is not eating in the day, but day is not all 24 hours. There is night also. So like fasting, people on the fasting, sometimes, not all, people on the fasting, during the day they sit there without eating anything. Then in the rest of the period, they compensate that. Divana Bhumte, during the day he does not eat. It leaves a gap for us to infer or conclude Arthapatti, that then he must be eating in the night, because without eating one cannot become Pushtaha, Pinaha. So Pino Devadattaha Divana Bhumte is the statement. Pushtaha Devadattaha Divona Bhumte. He doesn't eat anything during the day, and still he is Pushta. How come? Then it follows that he must be eating in the night. So likewise, there are different means of concluding knowledge. Therefore, those four terms are important. Pramata, the knower. Prameyam, the known, what is to be known. Pramanam, the means of knowledge. And Prama, the knowledge. These four terms are, in this case, important. Now, at the time of Shankara, all these schools of philosophy has created confusions. Going all of them almost by the seed and tree analogy, they have said that this is the cause and that is the effect, is the creation. So this confusion is totally refuted by Adi Shankaracharya. And this para particularly only talks about the means that are adopted for gaining the why and wherefore of the creation. So I think I have stopped in between. I don't know. Let us see further after the testimony of the wise, after Vakyam also. Nayaikas, Gautamikas accept Upamana also over and above the other three. Prabhakaras, a sect among the Mimamsakas, accept Arthapatti also. Arthapatti, just now we have seen. While Bhattas, another school in Mimamsakas, consider Anupalabdhi, Abhava, as the as another source of knowledge, like Khapushpa, the sky flower, or son of a barren woman. This is something Anupalabdhi. It is not possible. So this is another pramanam. Now with all this pramanam, further Vedantin accepts all the above six sources of knowledge. Pauranikas consider two more as acceptable in their philosophy, and they are Sambhava. I don't know what is this Sambhava or Sambhava. It should be Sambhava or Sambhava. And Aitiham. Aitiham is a tradition, like Itihasa, Aitiham. In our tradition, our forefathers said like that, and therefore that becomes again a pramanam for the knowledge. So these two are added in the Puranas, like all Puranas except these two more, apart from six. So Shaddarshanas, six schools of philosophy, one by one, they take additional pramanam. All six pramanams are used by Vedanta, and Puranas like Bhagavata Purana and other Puranas of Vyasa, they have two more, that becomes 8. And these are all basically the philosophies with causation, and they were all confusing because majority of them were based on seed and tree example. And it is refuted because the seed gets destroyed in the bargain of tree, but the God does not get destroyed. God being Paramatma being infinite and the creation being finite, in the manifestation of finite creation, the God does not get lost. God remains intact as infinite. Therefore, seed and tree example is not applicable, and all schools of philosophy providing the theory of creation are refuted by Acharya. So here only the pramanams, different pramanams are listed here. Who are following what pramanam? That is all, and otherwise there is nothing much. Only pramanams are listed. Prama, the knowledge related to creation. Pramata is the knower of that. And the prameya is creation all the time. That is the prameya, to be known. Is there anything in this para other than that? Only all pramanams created by the starting sentence, applying the main ideas of this stanza to the general confusions created by the various schools of philosophy at the time of Shankara, we can detect a new import in the opening two lines. New import. He has to explain that. He has not yet explained, but he will explain the significance later. But now he has described only the number of pramanas that are available for us to know more about the creation. Right? So now we go to the 19th para. The Kanadas, the bars are not put. Kanadas is wrong. Kanada is a Rishi. And Kanadas explain the world as the play of 6 fundamental things. Now here padarthas are some materials that constitute the creation. So here Kanadas talk about 6 padarthas, and the footnote 10 indicates Dravya, Guna, Jati, Karma, Vishesha and Sambandha. These are the 6 padarthas responsible for creation according to them. And the next one is Sankhyan, as that of 25 things. Actually 24 things, and then 25th being Atma or Paramatma. So these are the 25 padarthas the Sankhyas consider required for creation. These 25 padarthas make the creation with the addition of Purusha or Ishvara, that is 25th. So 24 are all belonging to, all that list is given here at the end. 11th footnote says 5 elements, 5 pranas, 10 indriyas, 4 inner equipment, together 24. And the Paramatma is the 25th. So then the next one is, these emerge out due to the play of Maya. This is a critical comment. These play out as, this statement is, these emerge out due to the play of Maya. 12th footnote, Ichha, Jnana, Kriya, Rupi, Maya. So Maya manifests in terms of threefold powers: the power to act, power to aspire or desire, and power to know. So Maya manifests in these 3 powers. So according to one school of philosophy, it is like this. So we do not all this being refuted by Acharya, therefore we don't have to discuss why and wherefore of this. But this is only an information. So that's the 19th para is over. All these, next one, all these and many more schools and sects of philosophers, their theories and arguments are all imaginations projected out from the infinite as the tree from the seed. Here it is that we were discussing earlier also. All these are based on the example of tree and the seed, how the tree emerges from the seed. So they are all refuted because the seed gets destroyed, whereas the creator God does not get destroyed. Therefore, they are all refuted. So now 21st para, Vedantins also champion the theory that God is the creator of the world. But in this statement of the Vedantic philosophers, the word creator is not to be understood in the sense in which we literally understand this simple term. That which modifies must necessarily be the victim of change and therefore always finite. God is infinite, and thus when we say he is creator, we mean that he, like a king, by his presence alone creates. His physical activities, kartrutvam, and enjoyments, bhoktrutvam, are all peculiar to him. In our case, activities and enjoyments affect us. Our case means as jivas. When Swamiji says in our case, he is excluded in that, but to make us feel that we are with Swamiji or Swamiji is with us, this sympathy, it is said. For the jiva, kartrutva and bhoktrutva become the sources of all sorrows and suffering. Whereas in case of Ishvara, they do not become the sources of trouble. Kartrutva and bhoktrutva. In case of activities and enjoyments affect us, they never can affect him. This is the peculiarity of his desire, ichha, svechaya. Peculiarity of his desire, and this is so because Maya is under his control. It's called Mayapati. Maya is under his control, while we are under the control of avidya. Clear, Swamiji is so clear about terms. That's also called Maya, avidya Maya, suvidya Maya. But he is like a king. He will just express, I wish I should have this. And the people will run errands, minister and all the servants, etc., and get in that. And he will enjoy that. He is not affected by that. Whereas when the jiva desires, I want that, then he has to struggle a lot. Then it's not sure whether he will win or succeed. All those things are, limitations are there with jiva, where Creator God is like a king. And this king has to just his wish. That is all. Nobody can question his authority. So he says, I want this. And then the arrangements will be made. The ministers and the servants and all other things are meant for that. All provisions are there. So kartrutva, bhoktrutva of the Lord becomes worthy of our attention and worthy of our worship. When say chappana bhogas of the Lord in worship, it is this, indicative of this. That entire world is at his service. To serve him alone, the world exists for the Lord. And therefore, for him, kartrutva, bhoktrutva does not come in a way or limit him. He remains like a king. So that was the indication of the paragraph. This is last one para. And here we have come to much more meaningful conclusion that if like a juggler and yogi, we can take the God as a king who has got his own willpower, and his power is attained, his will is attained by others. Therefore, he enjoys, meaning he entertains himself with whatever he wants. So, kartrutva, when he says he is a creator of the kingdom, actually it is his people who will work for it, not himself. So, he remains intact, undisturbed, while all other people are working errands for him. So, this is the idea of the creator in this, with reference to second stanza only. And the last para here is, to this great power, that is described as Lord and a king, etc. To this great power, who like a juggler or a great yogi unrolls this universe just out of his own free will, to him, the divine teacher, Sri Dakshinamurty, is this prostration. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Sri Dakshinamurtaye. So this is the fourth line commented, which is common. For all the 8 verses, it will be common. But earlier, the first 2 lines indicated the seed and tree example. Bijasyantarivangkuro jagadidam prang nirvikalpam first line. And Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitra Chitrikritam. The credit of creation goes to Maya. And Paramatma is like a king. Maya has to obey his will. So this is the condition of a creator and a creation and the means of creation. So material cause, efficient cause and instrumental cause, whatever causes, they are all belonging to Maya. Here it is indicative of that. And Mayavi is the Lord who handles Maya. And she serves him as a servant. He wants opportunity to serve him. So for his, why creation? For Lord's recreation. So this is here, we can appreciate that statement. And thus it is the Guru Murti, Tasmai Sri Guru Murtaye, Sri Dakshinamurtaye, Idam Namaha Astu. So this is the concluding fourth line of the verse, which we will have come across in further verses also. So thus we have covered a first round of commentary on second verse. I won't start a second round unless you have something to ask. Otherwise, we will proceed to the third verse next time. In between, you go through again the commentary on second verse. And in case you have anything, any particular statement, you can mark that statement and we can discuss that again. So that is it for the day. We will see that next time, the next verse. Yasya prasadadahameva Vishnuhu Mayeva sarvam parikalpitancha Itham vijanami sadatmarupam Tasyangri padmam pranatosmi nityam Tasyangri padmam pranatosmi nityam Om Sri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om everybody.